Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic rolls on here on this Monday morning. We mentioned it earlier in the show when we saluted our best of the weekend. Yesterday, up at Dakota Field, the Bison soccer team knocked off St. Thomas 2-1. With that victory, NDSU clinched the Summit League regular season championship. They'll be the 1 seed when the tournament opens next week. They'll host at Dakota Field for a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. Our next guest has been a stud on this team for the last 4 years. From Moorhead High School, Olivia Watson joins us this morning. I can now say a newly crowned Summit League champion. How's that sound when I say that?
Sounds awesome.
Tell us about just, first off, yesterday. You fall behind 1-0. That's kind of almost been your guys' MO this year, to come back and rally. What is it about this team that you had that, especially in the second half yesterday, to come back and win?
Yeah, I think going into the game, we all kind of knew what was at stake, and we have to win to get that number 1 seed, and we were so close. There was no reason for us not to win that game. And so of course, then being down 1-0 at halftime, it was kind of lit a fire under us, and we were like, okay, we gotta step it up here. So then, of course, second half, we come out and have nothing to lose again. So it's kind of just give everything you have, and we came back. So.
Did you feel like you were playing that way? That's how you played all season? Just, hey, we're going to go with nothing to lose. Has that kind of been the mentality you guys have played with all year?
Yeah, I feel like, especially going into the season, being kind of ranked pretty low in this Summit League. So then again, it was like another fire lit under us, where it's like, yeah, we have shown that we're probably in 7th from years before, but just knowing that again, like, it is my senior year, like, I don't have anything to lose. I can only do better than the years before. So, being in first now, it feels unreal, but I think we did a lot to deserve that. So,
So when Morgan scores to tie the game, what is the emotion like on the field, or just to push for the go-ahead goal? What did you notice you guys play even different after that?
yeah, like, I think that was another really big turning point. It was kind of like, okay, like, we have this game, like, we just have to get one more goal, and that's kind of our mentality every time we score. Our first goal is like the other team is pretty vulnerable for the next few minutes, so that's like our time to go back and get the second goal. So
Olivia, we're watching video, you guys with the trophy. Describe what that moment was like on the field with your entire team.
yeah, it was extremely emotional. I know, like, most of the seniors were in tears just because we've worked so hard every year to accomplish something. So to even make it to the tournament is so cool, but to win it is just, it's another feeling. So
Well, you mentioned this, and we were talking off air. Preseason pick a 7th. I know Coach Regan even mentioned I would have put a 7th as well. Why the turnaround? Why the success in your mind this season?
I just think, like, going into this year, it's a different mentality for me compared to other people because it is my last season. So it's like this year, especially, we kind of went into it being like, no, the standings, they really don't mean anything. Every team in the Summit League changes every year drastically. And like the gap between the number 1 team and the number 8 team, like, it's really not that different. Any team can beat any team in our league. So I think that was another switch because we beat Denver last year and they've always been top 1 or
Yes.
2. So knowing that we can do that, we knew we could beat any team this season. So.
Was there a game or a moment that like, okay, this team is different? Is there one that stands out when I ask you that?
Um, I honestly think it was probably one of our first games when we played Green Bay, just because the game before that against Viterbo was pretty poor, and then that was kind of another turning point. Like, okay, this is the level we can play at. So then we didn't want to drop off at all the rest of the season, just knowing that we could be that good. So
By the way, you got a trip to Hawaii. How cool was
yeah,
that? How was that? How?
that was that was another memory that I'll have the rest of my life. That was one of the coolest things I've ever done, and that's just another thing that NDSU has brought me is that amazing experience. So yeah, it was awesome.
I should have asked that last, but that's pretty good. Anyway, so you lost to Denver, but that was a 2-1 game. How did you? I know there's no moral victories. How did you come out of that, knowing full well what you had? You had both the South Dakota schools coming to Fargo after that game.
Yeah, I think we knew that we had some of the hardest games in a row with like Denver, ORU, SDSU. We had all of those teams kind of right in a row. So coming out of the Denver game, I think we knew that we had to win the next few games to still stay on top. Just because the points can change so much just by losing one game. And so I think just after that, that was another kind of switch in our mentality, just knowing like we seriously have to, like, we have to beat SDSU. So
Being unbeaten at home, how much of a sense of pride was that as well?
yeah, it's so much Bison pride just playing on our field and just knowing like there's an even bigger emphasis on winning, especially when we're at home, just because then it's the Bison community. Like we don't want people coming here and being happy when they leave our field. So
So to add on to that, now you're hosting. You got it. But you're not playing for another week and a half. So what's that like? Would you rather play this week or do you need the week off?
I kind of go back and forth. Like it'll be weird not playing this week just because then other teams are still getting that kind of like game fitness.
Yep.
So I know that we'll probably have some intense practices just so that we stay on top of our fitness levels. But I mean, it's extremely exciting to know that we don't have to travel for these games and we have that advantage. So yeah.
The fact that you have potential of both games at your place, you got to be over the moon on that. Is there granted, I don't know. Are you playing with house money now? Nobody thought you guys were going to be any good, and now here you've won it and have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. I think it's extremely exciting to know that like no matter what, the teams have to come here to play. And so I mean, I don't know. I know the environment will be crazy and there will be so many people here, which again is super exciting. I think that our team, we really use like the energy around us to step up our game and play better. So I think that in end is also just going to make us better than we have been all season. So
Being from Moorhead, being a local athlete, always is a different deal at NDSU. How has that affected you this year, knowing it's your senior year? And I know how many people look up to you on both sides of the river for the kind of player you are.
yeah, I think that's made my senior year even more emotional. Not just because it's my last time probably playing soccer at this level, but just because of the impact I've had on other little girls that want to play soccer. And I've noticed that over this past summer coaching a youth team.
Yeah.
And so it's just like walking around town and being, especially in the schools I'm in, a lot of the kids know me from the soccer camps and from me coaching them. So it does mean a lot to me to know that they think of me when they think of soccer. So
What's that mean for you when you hear that? When the little girl comes up to you and goes, I want to be you.
yeah, it means a lot to me. I think of me as a little girl knowing like the players that I looked up to. And so it's crazy to be in their shoes, looking up to someone like that, kind of like a celebrity in Fargo.
Who was
But
that
yeah.
for you when you were growing up locally? Was there a player that you watched and wanted to emulate?
I remember Allison Olness. She was from Moorhead too,
Yep.
and she went to Nebraska. And so, I mean, I remember talking to her almost weekly about soccer and how I can go D1 also. So, yeah.
We were visiting off air. I remember interviewing you when you committed, which is now, 6 years ago, old man that I am. This has got to be the perfect capper for how this has played out. Has your career gone the way you thought, or is this taking a totally different route?
Yeah, I think this is honestly like the best ending I could ask for just because I mean coming in as a freshman it was kind of rocky just with how poor we were performing at
Yeah.
that point and then it was kind of like oh like I like this will be a longer journey if we can't step up our game and so and I mean the past 2 years also like we've been to the tournament once and last year we kind of fell short of that so like this year it just yeah it's like the perfect way to kind of leave NDSU so
You've got a dynamite freshman. What has Morgan Russman meant to your team?
Morgan is amazing. Like she's changed the program and I'm honestly so excited to stay local and watch them play just because I know Morgan has accomplished some things that no other freshman at NDSU has ever been able to accomplish. And so like even me as a freshman, like being able to score 2 goals was a big deal and her scoring that many, I can't even imagine how she's
11.
feeling.
11.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, so I just like I hope she just continues to do that every season, and I think NDSU will be extremely unstoppable if Morgan is still playing at that level.
Well, you got
So
4
yeah,
this year. Is there one that stands out this year of your 4?
I think probably just the Denver goal because I've never scored on them before, and
Yeah.
so that's kind of been a goal of mine this this year too is like, oh, the teams I haven't scored on, that's a goal of mine to score on them. So scoring on Denver was pretty cool.
You got
Yeah.
16 for your career. Which one is the one that stands out the most?
I said this during my senior video too, but I think just my first one freshman year against Wyoming was awesome just because we were in a rut that year and that was like the first game we didn't lose. And so it was kind of another emotional point, and it was, I mean, yeah, a turning point in my career personally too. So
Just a couple more before I let you go. Was the moment you had where like, okay, I can play Division I soccer? What stands out when I ask you about like, okay, I think I'm going to be all right?
like before college, you
No,
think,
when
or
you got to school, when you were
yeah,
playing at
yeah.
NDSU.
I mean, I think it was just honestly probably right away when I got to NDSU, just because everyone was so welcoming and the community has always been awesome, and the coaching staff and all the athletic staff just made me feel so welcome. And then it was like I was able to earn my spot on the field, especially too, and that kind of changed my outlook on it too. Just knowing that I would be an impactful player after scoring 2 goals my freshman year. So at that point, I kind of knew that I would be someone that could change the program off and on the field. So.
All right, last
Yeah.
one off the top of your head. Who's the one player you stop and watch on TV? Is it college, pro, whoever? Who's the one say, okay, if this is on, I'm going to watch him or her play?
I guess I'll stop and watch anytime Sophia Smith is playing,
Yep.
who's on the national team.
She's
So
all right. She's pretty good.
yeah, she's awesome. Yeah, yeah.
It's great to see you. Congratulations. That was so fun to see yesterday. Appreciate the time, and good luck next week. We'll talk again soon, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Olivia Watson joining us, Moorhead native, Bison senior midfielder after North Dakota State's 2-1 win yesterday over St. Thomas to clinch the Summit League championship. Again, they will host, that comes up a week from Thursday, not this Thursday, not Halloween. November 7th will be the Summit League semifinals at Dakota Field. They win that. They play for the Summit League championship on November the 10th. Good stuff there. Fun to see. Again, unexpected success is always the best. And that's what we've seen for the Bison soccer team this fall. We'll take our final break. We had a bunch of emails to get to. We'll come back and answer our poll question. I think we already know the poll question. Yeah, that's about right, too. We'll wrap up Hot Mic right after this.